This is Siva Devaki from MassMailer. Thank you so much for joining the webinar today. Today we're going to talk about how to create and send emails to list views in MassMailer. And the topics that I'm going to cover in today's webinar are how to create Salesforce list views, how to create MassMailer list views, and how to send emails to list views in MassMailer. And also we're going to cover how to send an email to an individual record as well. All right, having said that, let's get into the demo. To start with, when you install and configure MassMailer, by default, we support some of the objects. Those are standard objects, such as lead, contact, campaign, innovative campaign member, the case, and the user. So there are 5 objects that we support: as lead, campaign member, case, user, contact. You can, of course, add more objects that you want to support in MassMailer. It could be a standard object, it could be a custom object. In this example, we have opportunity as a standard object and course as a custom object to send email. So this is how you basically enable objects in MassMailer. So once you've done that, we would be creating all the necessary buttons and all the necessary related lists for those objects. Of course, you will have to go add them to the page layouts and whatnot. So let's assume that you've done that. And then now if you want to send email to any specific object, there are 2 ways to do this. One is you go create a list view within MassMailer itself that's called MassMailer list view. It's a custom object and a custom tab that you see here. Once you go to MassMailer app from here, you would see, provided you're using Lightning, it'll show as Lightning. And if you're using Classic, it'll show as MassMailer Classic. Once you load your MassMailer app, you go to MassMailer list views. That's where you can actually create the target list view, who you want to send emails to. It's quite easy and quite intuitive. So you would come here and click on this button called New. And then you can actually give a name to your list view. Let's say you want to send out emails to contacts. Let's call this as a contacts list view. I'm gonna give a date to this. So this is your contact list view name, and you have an option to select which object it is. For an example, contact, and also we have an ability to restrict the visibility as well. You can make it visible to all, only me, or profile. In the upcoming release, you will see this getting implemented when you're actually sending out email in the outreach wizard. Okay. So the object has been selected, that is contact. Now you will see a few sections here. I'm going to go explain all of them. The first section right below the object name is select filter criteria. So in this section, you can actually select the filters from the current object, that is contact, or from the parent object. So there are 2 things that you could do: select the filters from the current object, that's contact, or from the parent object. And then here in this section, you can actually give a filter type, whether all filters are true, any filter is true, or the filter logic is met. So this is gonna let you apply various filter conditions. And then in this section, you can actually select filter criteria for a child object. What it means, let's say you have a case object, which is a child object for a contact, meaning you can get a support tickets from various customers, and those are represented or stored in Salesforce's case object, which is in a way related to a contact. And contact can raise multiple support tickets. So it's basically one contact having multiple child objects. That is the case. So if you have certain criteria like that where you need to apply filter criteria on the child object, for example, you want to send email to all the contacts that have got open support tickets. So case being the child object, you can select the case status open, and then you can filter all the contacts and then send email. So that's kind of an example. That's what you would do in this section. And then finally, select fields to display. Here, again, whenever you're trying to send an email to a list view, you want to see multiple columns in the results. Then you can actually select those fields to display from the object or from the parent object. So let's quickly take a look at an example here. So we're given a name. We are making it visible to all. Otherwise, you have other options as well. And then the contact is the object. And now I'm going to go apply a filter here. So I would apply a filter maybe on the first name. And I would pick a name here. And then if you want to apply like a filter on the parent object, that is account in this case. And if you want to apply on the account ID, that is one option here. And then you can say include. You have only two options when you have account ID. And then you can actually search what specific account that you want to select, right? Include this, right? And then you can see if it actually brings in any results just by clicking on preview. So it says no records. So maybe this particular account does not have any contacts, right? So let's take a look at something else. So let's see if it has any other value. I'm not sure what I have here. So it seems like there is another account, and let us see if it has any value and say preview. So it has got a lot of values there, and then 49,900. We're not going to send emails to all of them. So I'm going to apply one more filter. So basically, here the filters that I have is the first name equals to this, and then account ID includes this. So let's go ahead and add maybe email, and then you can say not equals to. Why not apply this? And let's see, what does it do? Preview. So I got 6 records, not bad. So a very limited record. So I'm going to go say that's fine. And then here you can apply all filters true. So which means in this scenario, we are actually trying to filter values by applying first name Siva and account MassMailer and email not equals to dev@massbusiness.com, right? And if you want to do any filter, meaning this becomes our condition. If you want to say first name or account includes MassMailer or email dev@massbusiness, you may get different results, right? Let's take a look at this. So if I do preview, then it is actually going to apply the R filter. You can see I got a lot more records here because I'm trying to see if I have this filter any of this filter criteria is true, right? So it's an OR condition. And you can also do this filter logic is met, where in which you can actually just say, hey, I want to apply filter 1 and filter 2 and filter, or filter 3, right? So in the scenario, what you're doing is it says first name and the first name equals to Siva and MassMailer or dev@massmailer, right? let's say you did this, you can also apply the brackets, right? So this is basically you're trying to apply a filter logic. And then if you do preview, then you basically will get a different result, right? It's not the exact same thing. And you can always apply any different criteria here. So let's say you want to do 1 or 2 and 3, right? So this may give us a different result. If you do preview, then you're getting different results altogether, right? So basically, this is a little bit more advanced, wherein which you are trying to apply a logic to the filter criteria here. Okay? And similarly, if you have any child object, as I mentioned, this scenario, if you have cases that I've got open cases. For an example, so let's say you want to see if there is a case that is called a status, right? And then equals, for an example, and select value in this scenario. Let's say we have anything that is new, and see if we have any results. So basically, you're saying, hey, all those contacts that I applied as filters, and also if there are any cases with the new value, do we get anything? Let's see. So there are no records. So basically, you can see that now, since that we applied a filter logic, the child filters as well, it is saying that there are no records. So I'm just going to go delete this filter, and then now I'll show you in which you have records in this if I don't apply the filters from the child object. So that's kind of a little bit more advanced. And then the fields to display here, currently when you do preview, you can see that only email is being displayed. Once again, I'll go there, the preview. You can see only email is being displayed. If you actually want to show more fields, such as say first name or maybe full name, right? And then any other values you want to display. Let's see. Let's actually bring in from the page. So now we got 2. I'm going to do preview here. So I got full name being displayed right there. And if you want to get fields from the parent, so you would actually go here and then apply. You basically search for the parent object, that is account, and then I'm going to bring in the account name and then say done. And now if you preview, it should bring in the account name as well, right? So basically that's how you filter all your objects and then bring in the necessary fields that you want to display. So that's how you create a MassMailer list view. Once you have done that, you just go save, and then that becomes your MassMailer list view. So let's try to remember the name. So this is the name that we given. So once you have the list view created, then you would actually go to Outreach Wizard. So this is one way to send emails. We're going to talk about the Salesforce list view as well. So here, first scenario, the first step, you're actually going to give the campaign name. If you don't want to change it, just go to the next step. And the target audience, you're actually going to say contact is the target object. And then you can search for the list view that you created. And that is your list view. And it brings up the respective results. We have 6 of them. And then you go to the next step here. And then here, you're basically selecting the email template. Again, just to explain a few of the sections here. In this section, you're actually selecting a template. So you just select what respective folder you want to use, from where you want to select your template. And we got the webinar demo template. And then it loads up into the editor right here. You don't have to select a base template. This is, we've just given a flexibility where if you want to design, develop your template on fly from a base template, but we don't recommend doing that because there's no way you can save the template. So here we have the actual template that is loaded. I'm actually gonna cross out this, and then here it is the template right here. So I'm gonna take out this as well. So we're gonna select the merge field from the section right here. Again, you don't have to do it at runtime. You can always build this template ahead of time, so you don't need to make any changes to the merge fields at runtime. So, for an example, you want to bring in the contact first name. So you basically select that contact first name right there, and then you can apply that filter. Sorry, the merge field on the subject, or even in the template itself. So once you have finalized your template, any changes that you're making, so you just have to click this save, and then you can move to the next step. So a few more things that I want to explain. So the merge field shows classic and lightning. I kind of gone through this in another webinar. You can look it up in our YouTube channel. So this basically just gives you the syntax, whether it is classic or lightning. We support both of them for the merge field. And then in the template section, you see A/B testing. So when you want to do A/B testing, you can turn it on and then it shows the alternate email subject. Otherwise, you turn it off. Email preview text, if you want to enter the preview text, that kind of shows up whenever you look at the email in any Gmail any interface. It actually shows who is the from, and also it shows the preview text without you opening the actual email. So that's what is called preview text. So once you made the changes, then you basically click on the save. That is important. You also have an option to enter the text value as well, which improves the deliverability. Otherwise, you can just do the HTML, and then you basically move to the next steps of sending email. So that is basically the next step where you can attach files. So you may want to upload it from your computer, or you can actually bring it from one of the storage areas. So I'll quickly show it to you how to do this from your computer. So, for example, you want to attach an image, pick up an image that you have, and then it basically stores the outreach behind the scenes. It uploads the file, and then I go to the next step. Here you are trying to send email as yourself if you're a logged in user. You can actually select a global sender if it is set up in MassMailer setup page. You can always select any of the global senders. Or you can actually send as a record owner, meaning if you want to send as the specific record owner for the contact, you can do that as well. And then finally, you can also do on behalf of, meaning you can enter the from name, from address, reply to, or completely custom where you can actually pick and choose what is the from name, what is the who is the actual sender, that is the from address, and the reply to are completely custom. So let's keep this logged in user as an option now. And then here you can do CC if you have multiple CC values. If you want to select them, you could do that. That's an option. You can also do BCC. So meaning if you want to do BCC any other email, or maybe BCC the sender, you have an option. And then you basically select one of the BCC emails. You have an option to do BCC on every email or BCC once. So these emails, you set it up in MassMailer setup page. If you don't want to do that, unselect them and then go to the next step, in which you're actually gonna say when you want to send email, you want to send it now or you want to schedule later. Schedule later will give you the date and time. Send now will actually let you send it now. And then we have an option to send non-transactional, transactional at a high level. Non-transactional, we respect opt-outs, and we also let you include the unsubscribe link. But if you want to turn off the unsubscribe link at runtime, you can always do that. But the key thing is that we honor opt-outs. Transactional, we do not honor the opt-outs. So there are some scenarios where you want the email to go to everyone, even though they unsubscribed in your system, you would end up using transactional. So if you want to have multiple email preferences, you can always define them as unsubscribe group and then select one of them at runtime. I've gone through this in a separate webinar. Same thing, the suppression list view. If you ever wanted to suppress a list of emails, you can create a list view and select that list view at runtime. IP pool, if you have multiple IP addresses, and you can create an IP pool for each one of them and select which IP you want to route the traffic. That's only when you have IP addresses though. In this section, you can actually suppress email event logging. Most of the times you don't want to suppress anything. You want to log the email events such as opens and clicks and all of that. So don't even touch the section. Same thing with the activity. You want to, most of the times you want to log the activity history in Salesforce. So keep that as is. Go to the next step, in which we are actually finally reviewing all your work. Again, this just shows what you've selected in previous steps. And you will have two other things that you can do here. One is you can quickly preview your email. You can also do a test by clicking on this button, have comma separated values, select any merge field that you want to actually send, or rather select merge field values from, but you're actually sending email to the comma separated values and then click send now. That's how you do a test. And then finally, if you are good, you just have to click finish and then you're able to send email. So every campaign or every email that you're sending out via MassMailer is captured in an object called outreach, wherein which the actual campaign information is stored, meaning who is the sender, who is the recipient, what template is being used, what is the email subject, and then what is the delivery information, status information, the statistics, everything is stored in this outreach. So that's how you basically send emails. Every contact or every object will also have its own activity history that gets logged. This standard Salesforce activity history, and also we log all the email status values, such as opens and clicks and bounces. All of that gets stored right here in this particular object called email status. Anyone unsubscribes, that is stored under another object called suppression list, which is a related list to the respective object. So that's how you basically send email to any MassMailer list view that you've created. Now let's take a look at how to send email to a Salesforce list view. So now I'm actually going to take an example of a custom object here. So let's say you have these custom objects that are actually defined in your system, and this is already enabled in MassMailer. So you have two options. Again, how to create a list view in Salesforce is quite easy. So let's quickly do this. I'm gonna go say new. So here is the list view control. Basically, don't get confused with this new. This is new record, but this is new list view. So if you want to say, hey, you want to create a new list view, I'm gonna say comp science, not comp science. Let's say so test or something like that, right? And I would just say save. And I still haven't applied any filters. It is defaulted to my courses. I would say all courses, one filter. And then I want to apply another um, uh, filter here. So let's say new filter course name, for example, uh, like say contains science, right? And then done and save it. So that will give me only one record because I applied filters, right? And if I want to actually display more fields in this, I can actually go select other values there, such as course email, and it actually shows the column. So basically, this is a straightforward way to create a Salesforce list view, not like quite advanced the way we have it in MassMailer list view, but it actually serves the purpose if your requirement is quite simple and it's not very complex, the filters that you're applying. Okay? So let's say this is the list view that you want to send email to. So you created this list view, and there are two options here. I may actually want to apply more filters here. So instead of saying contains comp, let's just start another filter for the email actually. Um, okay, so here, so course email, I would say contains, so, and done, and save it. Because I needed more values there, so I can show you how to select individual records too. So now, again, talking about how to send email to a list view here, there are actually two options in this particular case. If you select a list view, right, this is listing out all the results in this list view. If you want to send out email to all of them, you click on this button called Send via MassMailer. That will actually take you to the outreach user page, and then you go to the next step. You can see the target audience. It is showing all the records, all the 3 records that we have selected. So basically, if you want to send email to all the records in that list view, you click on that button directly. That's one option, and rest of the steps are the same. I'm not going to go through the entire flow here because all other options are the same. Only the target audience changes. So let's say you actually want to basically select individual records from that list view. Then how do you do that? So again, you would go back to the course list view, and then you want to select individual um, records. So for example, this and this, right? These two, you want to send email to, select those records. We, by default, I think we support 2000, up to 2000 selections, not more than that. And I think it's a limit that Salesforce has got. We assume that you would never really go beyond 2000 when you're manually selecting any records. And then send via MassMailer, you click on this button. So in this scenario, you're actually sending out email to only 2 records. So when you select that, you would basically go to the target audience, and you can see that there are only 2 records that got pre-selected based on your selection right there. So we show the ID. This is a common field across all, so that's the reason why we show the ID. I know this is not user-friendly. In future, we plan to change this to the name so that it's not cryptic ID as such. So rest of the steps are the same. You keep going to the next steps and then fill up the every form, and then you're good to go. So that's how you basically send email to the actual the list view from Salesforce. And if you're kind of keen and interested, there's a third way to send email, meaning if you ever wanted to actually go and send an email to your respective record, a single email, then the way you would do it is you would go here to the object and then send via MassMailer. You click on that button, and that is actually going to take you to the same outreach wizard. But the target audience will show only one record because you're coming from a specific object. It's not a multiple selection, it is just one selection. So that's how you will be able to send email to a single record. So basically, we covered three things today. That's how to create list views and how to MassMailer list views, how to send emails to MassMailer list views, and how to create list views in Salesforce and how to send emails to the Salesforce list views. So that's kind of end of the webinar today. It's not that long, quite short webinar today. So if you ever have any questions, you can always reach out to me or fill up the form on our website. This is the contact information, company and my cell phone, my email address, and the website and the company email address too. I'm happy to clarify any questions you may have right now. Feel free to speak up or maybe put it in the chat window. Any questions?
This is Cyrene, Siva. No questions on me, but do you mind sending us a recording of this presentation?
Absolutely, I'll do that.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, yeah. Thank you so much once again joining the webinar. We have this webinar every week. So you will receive a recording for this, and also you will receive an email what would be the topic next week. Thank you so much and have a great day and stay safe. Take care.
Thanks, Siva.
Thank you.